Well, yesterday was Father's Day and a nice day to reflect. Had a lovely conversation with my own dad over the weekend, and it was just very nice to connect with him. You know, you get so many things from your dads, and they're responsible for so much. Nice role model. They teach you a lot of things, hopefully model great behavior for you. Genetically, you also get a lot of their traits, like my skinny calves. That's because of my dad. Thanks, Dad. So, you know, some good, some bad. You never know. But there are some weird things that you actually get genetically from your parents that you might not even expect that you would get. One of those things actually could be attributed to bad driving. They say that things like impulsivity, poor spatial awareness, and slow reaction time, or even the ADHD, could be things that are genetic that actually affect how good of a driver you are.
I totally believe that.
So me being a bad driver is not my fault?
How good of a driver is your dad?
He's an excellent driver, but keep
Yeah.
in mind, my mom never drove a car. She
Right.
was scared to drive, so does that even it out?
There you are. You're in the middle.
You go from an excellent driver to driving.
A little bit of both. Now, would you say that your bad driving has to do with either impulsivity, poor spatial awareness, slow reaction time, or ADHD?
Yep.
Okay.
All of it.
Yeah. Well, then that could come from your dad. So he's conquered it to be a good driver. They say the other things that make you a bad driver are typically learned behavior. So it's more about how you learn to drive. And your parents definitely do have an effect on that.
When you're multitasking and eating spaghetti while you're driving.
Yeah.
That's a learned behavior.
That ain't genetic.
I did that like 12 years ago. Let's move on.
I can't. Spaghetti?
I was in a hurry.
They say things like tailgating, that's a learned behavior, yelling at other drivers, flipping them off, of course, ignoring traffic rules. You're likely to mimic the habits of your parents when it comes to your own driving. So,
I can see that.
yeah, if you're a road rage kind of parent that's flashing guns at other people, you're going to have a kid that is in the backseat. They're watching you, and they're likely going to exhibit the same kind of driving habits that you have.
There is nothing worse than being shotgunner in a car with somebody who suffers from really bad road rage because it kind of kills the vibe of the ride and you never know what's going to set them off. And I've been in a car where someone has gone to 0 to 1,000 in anger and we were having a great time and then they get mad and then everybody gets really eerily quiet. And not a good vibe.
Not at all.
Yeah, they say road rage and speeding, the two most inherited traits from parent to child, and that's a learned inherited behavior. But did you know that your sense of direction actually can be inherited? Which is kind of interesting. My dad has a terrible sense of direction, and I do as well. Places that I'm very familiar with, I don't know what it is. I'll walk out of a place, I'll get in the car, I'll start to pull out of the parking lot, and I'm like, how do I get out of this thing? Have you found parking lots in Florida to be sometimes horribly confusing? I can't figure out how to get out of this dang thing.
There are some wonky Florida parking lots. It should be a giant square, and it should just be parking in that giant square. Why do they have like pieces of land with trees and bushes and confusing layouts that have this way going that way? And like, no.
Yeah, it's a one way this way. And I know it's beautiful, the trees and all that, but there's some parking lots I just can never get out of it it looks like I'm going into some kind of road race because I go up and down trying to find how to get out of this thing.
We don't need trees in a parking lot.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
My sense of direction, I think, has gotten a lot worse since the iPhone. Because I put everything into the Google Maps. Even if I'm going 5 minutes home, I'll put it in there just to try to help me out now.
My daughter does that. I told her, you need to break yourself of that habit. Do not rely on your phone. Look around. Look at landmarks. Like, learn your neighborhoods.
I'm a landmark kind of guy. If you say Bird, it's by the Burger King across the street from the McDonald's. I'm like, okay, I know exactly what you're talking about. If you give me landmarks, I'm there, baby. I don't know if I trust his GPS. Sometimes it does me wrong.
Well, sometimes it'll have you driving into things that are like, a lake.
Yeah.
That's
you're right.
not good.
And I will power through a lake.
No, you won't.
I'll try.
Lakes so far are undefeated.
I'll try to. Is that a lake? Maybe there's a road underneath it.
Oh, my gosh. We'll find you in 10 years at the bottom of the lake.
They say your musical ability is genetic. pitch perception, rhythm memory, and even tone deafness all have genetic components to them.
Yeah, you got the Juicy Daddy Randy's genetics on that one.
Yeah, stop calling him that.
Never.
They say you can practice and improve, but talent often starts in your DNA. How about that?
I love it.
Sweet tooth versus savory cravings is also inherited. Your preferences for certain flavors, especially sugar and fat, can be influenced by variations in taste receptor genes that you get from your parents.
Oh, I got my mama's taste buds. Me and my dad eat completely different. Me and my mother ate so similar.
Okay.
I got it all from my mom.
You do. You definitely lean pizza.
Yes.
Your mother loved pizza. And donuts. She loved donuts.
Yeah, my dad's a health eater. I mean, he'll have an
Okay.
occasional, but yeah, it's all. Do you see that with your family?
On the food, yeah, no, I do not. I guess maybe similarly to how my mom did, my dad is more in line with you and your mom. My dad is always pretty much eating whatever he wants. He loves the junk food. He doesn't like any of the healthy stuff. He can't drink water.
It's one of the biggest things I respect about him.
Yeah. They say whether you're a morning person or a night owl, a lot of times depends upon your genetic traits. Your circadian rhythm, whether you're a morning lark or a night owl, they say is largely dictated by genetics.
I always thought it was like the time of day you were born.
Yeah, I'd heard that as well, that maybe that does have a play. But I by nature, am a night owl, so I chose the worst career ever.
I'm a night owl too, man.
Yeah.
If I could choose to stay up at night, I would.
Right. It's only I've been forced to become a morning person.
Do you know what time of day both of you were born?
Noon.
Noon.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, your body wants to sleep in.
It wants to wake up at noon. Yeah.
Wake up at noon. Let's start the party at noon. That's when you started the party.
Yep.
Either 6:55 or 7:55 p.
P.
Yeah, because they were at Pizza Hut when my mom's water broke.
Wow.
Having dinner.
Interesting.
Again, I love pizza.
I feel for all the other people that are eating. Kaboosh.
Yeah.
Jack, I think we'll go home. Your sweat levels, excessive sweating or even barely sweating at all, a lot of times is genetic. It's a function of your body.
So if you have two parents that are sweaters, there's no way you're not going to be a sweater.
I mean, yeah, you can. I mean, I think looking at the old, the Punnett square that they had, it still could work out that you wouldn't, but the odds are that you should be.
Yeah, you should be damp.
Your risk of motion sickness a lot of times is genetic. It's not just bad luck. That if you get motion sick, there's a good chance that one of your parents would as well.
All this is making sense.
Empathy and emotional sensitivity. That's kind of crazy that actually can be genetic. They say certain genetic variants affect how your brain processes emotional cues. While empathy can be learned and encouraged, some people are naturally more attuned to others' emotions.
Yeah, I believe that.
Huh.
I think some people just are able to pick up on moods quicker than other people.
I guess so. And
Maybe even wear their moods sometimes.
Or even care.
Yeah.
And then other people just, I know you're sad. I don't care and I enjoy it.
Oh, then you're a psychopath.
Exactly. They say how you stand and walk, your posture and your gait, a lot of times is genetic. Not just due to habit, but things like your foot arch, your hip placement, and joint flexibility are inherited. And that will then thus shape your movement and pattern. So if you kind of walk like a parent, that's why.
Panda said he walks behind me and Rocco all the time. And he said, me and Rocco walk identical.
That's
yeah.
funny.
Isn't that funny?
That is.
He'll walk behind us and go, oh my gosh, even the way you guys move your arms, it's exactly the same.
Yeah, my dad always talks about there's one of his uncles, I think I want to say Uncle Bus or someone like that.
Buck?
Bus?
Bus.
Uncle Buck?
Not Uncle Buck, Uncle Bus.
His name's Bus, huh?
I think it's a nickname.
I gotcha.
But he said there'll be times where I'm walking and just the way because I kind of walk very bouncy and my arms I have a weird gait. And he goes, you have a gait of one of your relatives that's been dead for 70 years, but he walked like that.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
genetic.
I think sometimes it can even be, an off, like an uncle or a grandpa
Yeah.
that you get that
Right,
those movements.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes. That's it. That's why it's not always just your, birth parents. There could be something that's somewhere in the family genetics down the line. And also things like rolling your tongue. Can you do that? Can you take your tongue and roll it out like that? That is genetic. Virginia can do it. Let's see you do it, Bird.
$100 if you can do it right now.
I don't know. He's kind of doing it. It's like a one poke. He did it. That's $100. That's $100. Yeah, Virginia got all cocky over here. You showed her.
You owe me a C note.
You need some encouragement.
I love it. Yes, I do.
This is how we do. It's the KVJ Show.